Thank you so much, all of you, for coming. I'm John Holder, Vice President of the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the great publicity that you've given to us through the years with this Hall of Fame. I thank you on behalf of the board and on behalf of all of our inductees that we've had through the years. I want to recognize, before we introduce our board president, we have a couple of our board members here. Connie Davidson, longtime board member. Also, we have Coach Bernard Howard, who's not only a board member, but also an inductee, a member of the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame. Glad they could be here with us today. I want to thank the folks at the Oxford Civic Center. Obviously, they had to do some work to make room for us today with the state tournament going on here, and we appreciate them accommodating us and all that they do for us throughout the year, hosting our board meetings and, of course, hosting our induction ceremony. The event that is coming up is our 2024 Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame event. I'm going to hand out some information to you in just a moment, but the date for that is going to always be on the Saturday of Father's Day weekend this year. That is Saturday, June the 15th. We will have a pre-banquet social and media interviews with pictures and one-on-one interviews with each inductee that will start at 5 o'clock. We would love for all of you to come, be a part of that, eat with us, great meal from Hubbard's on Main and Oxford, and be with us throughout the entire night. Then we move into the main hall where they're playing the basketball. We do the induction banquet at 6:30 here at the Oxford Civic Center. So we would love to have all of you back for that on June the 15th. This will be, as you'll see, our 19th class, going all the way back to 2005. We had one class in 2020 where we didn't have a class because of the COVID virus. And this year, our total number of Hall of Fame members, with the 6 that we are going to induct and unveil to you this year, will rise to 118 members of the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame. So I'm going to hand out some information. At this time, though, I want to introduce you our board president, Ken Grissom, and he is going to formally announce this year's class of 2024.
Thank you, John. And again, I want to reiterate how appreciative as a board we are of you guys being here today to publicize our group this year. We're very proud of this class that's coming in. They're very impressive. Our mission is to bring recognition and honor to people that have contributed in a positive manner to Calhoun County through sports. That could be as players, that could be as administrators, that could be as media, a number of ways. And we have programs for you guys that will give you a backstory on who all has been inducted into our class. And as John has alluded to, this year's class will bring to 118. So of those inductees, just names that are just historic throughout the history of Calhoun County and Calhoun County sports. So I invite you to look at those, and again, we certainly appreciate the publicity throughout the years that you guys have given our board. As we move on, I'm just excited to announce this year's class to you, and I'm going to read them in alphabetical order. Very accomplished group, just awesome accomplishments. So Quentin Caver of Anderson High School, he was football, basketball. I know Coach Howard coached Quentin. He left Anderson and played at Arkansas and did it at a very high level. Quentin was selected in the NFL, played with 3 teams there, the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Cowboys. So Quentin Caver is an outstanding selection, and we're very proud that he's coming in this year's class. Our second one is of interest. Jimmy Dew is one of our older inductees ever. He graduated high school in 1954 at Bethune High School, which is located in Piedmont. Bethune was the school that Jimmy represented. and he did it with such class and so highly respected throughout his community. He left Bethune in 1954, went to Alabama State and played at a high level at Alabama State. And in 1958, the Detroit Pistons picked Jimmy Dew with the 28th pick of the 1958 NBA draft. He played a couple of years with the Pistons. They traded him to the Bullets, and so he played one season there, and then afterwards he went with the Harlem Magicians. So Jimmy Dew, I have a personal connection to Jimmy Dew. He was my junior high coach and PE, and so when he would call roll, he would take the roll, and when he was through, he'd take his roll book and place it on the backboard. I mean, he was 7 foot tall and just a gentle giant. So highly respected, and we're excited that Jimmy is being recognized in this way. George Hoplazel is a longtime coach throughout Alabama. He did coach 12 years at Piedmont and did so at a high level. When George left Piedmont, he moved on to other schools throughout Alabama, and then finished his coaching career in Georgia and received success over there as well, or earned success, I should say. Daphne Mobley Johnston from Donahoe. She was a volleyball player. Daphne is currently living in Montgomery. She has actually participated in our banquet previously as Karen Hester, which would have been her high school coach. Daphne was the one that gave Karen Hester's induction speech. So, and then we move on to a couple of guys that I know you all are familiar with. Aaron Kelly from right here in Oxford, outstanding basketball player. Not only at Oxford High School, but also at Jacksonville State, and just very high accolades, both here in Oxford and at Jack State, just highly regarded. And our last one that we are proud to announce today is Schuessler Ware, and just a tremendous coach, made a tremendous impact on his players, so well respected by his players, loyal to him. Schuessler just had immense success at Anderson, winning state titles there, and we're very pleased that he is being recognized this year. So that is our 6 inductees, and after our press conference, myself, John, Bernard, and Connie will be available for any questions that you may have, or we'll even go live with questions and answers if you like. Now, I want to reiterate some things that John said. The city of Oxford is so gracious to us in allowing us to utilize this facility, and not only during our banquet, but at a time like this. They provide meeting space for us when we meet on a monthly basis, and so, you know, I'm thankful for their support. The night of the banquet, we will have things that we present to these inductees, and each inductee will receive a plaque that will have their photo etched in that, along with their accomplishments listed. You can see, if you go to the administration building on Noble Street, you can see our class plaques throughout the years dating back to 2005. And so they're on the west side of the building, but we have 18 of these plaques hanging in the halls. And I invite you to go down and look at those sometime when you're in that building. But each inductee will receive a plaque personalized to themselves that they're taking home. We also present a medallion to our inductees. So the night of the banquet, when you guys are here, if you see folks walking around with a medallion, that indicates that they're a past inductee. So we got that. Nominations, we are always open for nominations. We close the nominations for the current year on February 1, and then we'll select our class after February 1. So we have a website that I would like to direct you to, and that is CCSportshol, CC Sports Hall of Fame. So .com, and you can pull a nomination form there. As a board, we can't do the nominating. We're dependent on the public to nominate folks to us. So if you have someone in mind that you'd like to see recognized, that's where you would send someone to that website to be able to nominate. Again, June the 15th, our 19th induction, and 118 inductees. John and Bernard and Connie, if you would come up and, like I say, any questions that anyone might have, we'll be more than happy to answer those.
Yeah, if you've got questions just for us individuals as a group, we'll do that at this time. And of course, there'll be plenty of time, Ken, myself, Coach, Connie, we'll all stay as long as needed to do individual interviews about the Hall of Fame and about the class.
Schuessler coached his last game 3 years ago. I'm just wondering, what is the criterion as far as do they have to wait a certain number of years before they can be eligible?
They do. They have to be 3 years retired, or 62 years of age and can still be active.
So it'd be accurate to call him first ballot
That's correct.
in a manner of speaking.
That is correct. He is a first ballot inductee, yes.
So he was nominated this year along with Aaron Kelly and Quentin.
George Opposite.
Yeah, so 4 of our inductees were nominated this year.
All right, any other questions? Again,
Ken, could you talk to the quality of the class? Because, you know, when you're talking about not just good high school people, but, you know, you've got a pretty good list of people who.
We're so
who
proud
on that.
of them, Mark. And the quality of this class is outstanding. I mean, we have the NFL, we have SEC players, we have NBA players. So for a county the size of Calhoun County, the fields are fertile with candidates for our class. And we feel like this year's class, it was a difficult decision. I mean, we stayed a long time settling on who this year's class was. So there are some that were close that I'm sure we'll see at some point in the future. But these 6 rose to the top, Mark, and I feel like that they're high quality class.
Not just that, but it seems like all 6 are people, from what you're mentioning, they were big contributors within the community of Calhoun County. Could you speak to that?
I certainly can, and part of who we are, we want to, again, bring recognition and honor to those that contribute in a positive manner, and they contribute to the quality of life in Calhoun County. These folks not only operate within themselves, but they give so much to the community. They so many people in their community benefit from their efforts, if you will. Thinking about Schuessler and just what he had. And Bernard may not like me telling this story, but when we called Quentin Caver was so humble, and it just so happened that a high school coach was also on the phone. And it was just a lot of things that we do as a board is just, we're a nonprofit. We have to go out and raise money, things like that. A lot of things that people really don't want to do, but just the moment with Quentin and Bernard was priceless. And so just how Coach Howard impacted his life, and here we are 20, 30 years later, and it's still coming up. And Quentin made allusion to not only me, Coach, but my teammates and how you invested in us. And so when I look at Quentin Caver today and such a successful individual, Coach invested in me, and that's a common thing. And you look back through the past inductees, and that will be a common theme as to the things that the inductees have impacted their communities.
Bernard, can you share that moment and also, or your memories of that moment and just memories of him as a player?
Well, Quentin was such a great kid, real smart kid, and at Arkansas, he's I forgot what his major were, but you know, he was just so humble and grateful that we selected him. It brought both of us to tears. But he's such a great guy. It's nothing bad you can say about him. He's a faculty. They couldn't believe that it was Quentin one Friday nights when they went to watch him play, because that was not his personality in the classroom. He was an honest student, and he's just a great person.
Connie, I'm sure Larry had some classic battles with Schuessler. Just what are your memories of that?
And with Bernard as well.
Yeah.
Yes, and speaking of Quentin, I mean, Quentin was one that we didn't want to, you know, you knew you had to go out there and be prepared, be ready to guard him. So I remember seeing Quentin, you know, and cheering against him, you know. So I'm really excited to be able to welcome him into the Hall of Fame when I get to see him at this level.
Connie, could you allude to maybe Aaron and some of the comments that we had regarding
Oh,
Aaron?
absolutely. You know, Aaron, you know, he did great things here at Oxford while he was here on the basketball court. He also played football his senior year. And not many people really realize that, because he did go on to Jacksonville State, where he played for Coach Jones. And, you know, when Coach Jones found out that he had been nominated, Coach Jones reached out, and, you know, his words were, you know, there's not a more quality guy. He's one of the most well-prepared, well-rounded players I ever coached. Now, when you get Bill Jones saying that about you, you know you got something special. Aaron, you know, I taught Aaron at the elementary school, so Aaron, like Ken was saying, he's one of those that even since he's graduated, he continues to invest in not just the Oxford community, but the whole Calhoun County. He officiates balls. He's one, you know, you could talk to Don Hudson, who's over the officials in our area. Aaron is regarded as one of the best high school officials in the state. He even, I suspect, he will probably be officiating at the Final Four this year. He did last year, you know, and not everybody gets to go and do that. Another thing that Aaron does to continue to work within this area, he coaches and mentors young boys in AAU basketball. And, you know, these are little kids, not high school kids, you know, and he really works hard, you know, to be a good example, just like all of our inductees have. You know, every year we always look at each other after the banquet and go, how are we going to top this class? How are we going to top this next year? And every year we do. And it goes back to what John and Ken are saying. This area, we are so blessed with just outstanding athletes, coaches, administrators, and you know, 118. Yeah, we've just hit the tip of the iceberg. You know, like they say, we can't nominate. We are dependent upon the public out there to send us. You know, who needs to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? And I sit here and I can rattle off probably 15 names right now that I look and go, why hasn't someone nominated them?
Yeah, I want to follow what Connie said there too, that you all can really help us get the message out, because we haven't done a real good job over the years of getting the message out about nominations. It's a simple process. You can go to our website. There's a nomination form on there. You don't have to completely fill that out. The most that it's filled out would be good, the majority of that being filled out, but we just need those nominations, because as Connie pointed out, and I tell people this all the time, there are 14 people on the planet, only 14 people on the planet, that can't make a nomination for the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame, and that's the 14 board members. It's in our bylaws. We are not allowed to make nominations. We do that because really to protect ourselves from accusations that it's just a good old boy, they're putting in who they want to put in and putting in their friends and buddies. So we don't make nominations. We are not allowed to make nominations. So we depend upon those folks out there in the community to make the nominations and submit those. And, to that end, I would say if you're out in the community, you're out in the sporting events and you hear people say, well, so-and-so ought to be in the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame, well, your first question on our behalf would be, well, has this person been nominated? Well, I don't know. Well, then you can nominate him. Even the nominee himself. We have people that nominate themselves to be there. We've had that happen before. So kind of getting that word out to folks that we can't nominate. We don't nominate. We depend upon the community at large, and anyone can make a nomination. Doesn't have to be the coach, doesn't have to be the school. It can be anyone that just feels like that they've got a worthwhile candidate. If they will make that nomination, they can do that and we'll accept that. And for next year, that would be, as Ken pointed out, we need that nomination by February 1 to be considered for the class of 2025. So thank y'all for helping us get the word out about that. Any other questions? We'll have some one-on-one time with anybody if you want to need some one-on-one interviews or other information. Thank y'all so much for coming. I cannot tell you, I know this is a very busy time of year in between regional, state finals. You got a basketball tournament. If y'all want to get some video, there's the state tournament for the Christian School League. The Trinity Christian is in. They're playing today here this weekend. There's a lot going on, baseball, softball cranked up. For you to take your time to be here to help us get the word out about the Calhoun County Sports Hall of Fame, we are deeply grateful and appreciative.
Absolutely, and we do want to reiterate the open invitation for each and every one of you to come and join us on June 15th.
You just let us know. We'll feed you a good meal and have a great time. And you'll hear a lot of old war stories from these guys and gals, especially before the banquet and the pre-event social. Thank y'all for coming.